Hey Tiki Cocktail and Classic Cocktail fans, welcome to Bourbon Bill's Pirate Bar. If this is the first time that you're here, hey, we really appreciate you visiting our little slice of paradise. If you're returning, hey, we appreciate that even more. Well, here at Bourbon Bill's Pirate Bar is not just a drink, it's an adventure. And today we're going to get down and get funky. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe, like, and hit that notify bell and share this out with your friends so we can continue to bring great content to this channel. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. Did you hit that subscribe button while we were away? We hope so. Hey, before we jump into the Dr. Funk cocktail, I wanted to share a little something with you. We publish Wiki Tiki magazine, and you can see the link down below and get your copy. And we have digital subscriptions, and we also have print copies. These have fantastic recipes in them, tiki bar reviews, and a lot of tiki adjacent stuff that will enhance your tiki experience at home. So make sure that you get your copy today. All right, today we're going to get down and get funky with the Dr. Funk Tiki Cocktail. Now, this sounds like this is a contrived name, and so many tiki cocktails are. They have these wonderful, fantastic names. But in this case, we actually know that Dr. Funk was a real person. His name was Dr. Bernard Funk. He was a German doctor, and he was actually the friend and the personal physician of Robert Luis Stevenson. Now, if you don't know who that is, he's the one that gave us Treasure Island. So, knowing that, it adds a little bit of exoticism to the drink. And allegedly, he came up with this particular drink while he was serving the people of Appia, Samoa. So it's one of the very few cocktails, if not the only cocktail, that we can actually attribute to the South Seas. Now, you might have seen this on different menus if you go to different tiki bars. We've seen it as Dr. Funk, that's the traditional name, but there's also been the Dr. Funk of Tahiti, the Mr. Funk, the Dr. Fong, the Dr. Wong, and if you take out one ingredient that we'll get to in a minute, the Dr. Funk Jr. This started showing up on Trader Vic's cocktail menu in 1946, and about the same time, Don the Beachcomber had it on his menu as well. Now, we're going to show you some ingredients, and you're going to need to go pillage the fridge. You're going to need some funky Jamaican rum. Today we're using Plantation O.F.T.D, which stands for Old Fashioned Traditional Dark Rum. That's a good choice, but if you have another Jamaican rum like Appleton Estate or some of the others, Smith & Cross, those are great choices as well. You're going to need lime juice, Grenadine, you're going to need Velvet Falernum, and a splash of soda. Now, in some cocktail manuals, especially the old ones, you'll see a splash of seltzer. Well, seltzer and soda water are the same thing, so don't get hung up on that. But in the meantime, while you go do that, we're going to learn to talk like a pirate.
Hey, mateys, it's time to learn to talk like a pirate.
Ahoy, mateys. On today's Talk Like a Pirate segment, we're going to talk about navigation. Well, as you can imagine, in the pirates' world, navigation was critical to make sure that they could find their prizes and make it back to their secret hideout safely. Now, on a chart, there are basically three things that you need to know. There's longitude, which is how far east or west that you are. There's latitude, which is how far north or south of the equator that you are, and speed. So when we talk about speed, you may have heard nautical term knots, but you may not know where that has actually come from. What a knot is in terms of speed is really about 1.15 miles per hour, okay? So slightly faster than just normal miles per hour. And how they would determine that is they would use the log line. And sometimes they would call it a chipboard or a chip line. But basically it was a board that was circular or oblong in shape, tied to a rope, and every 23.3 feet, and I don't know how they came up with that, they would tie a knot. And then they would throw that over the back, and they would say, all right, here's a specific space. We're going to count out 15 seconds, and however many knots, 23.3 intervals, went out over the back, that was their speed. And that would help them determine when they would arrive and where they would arrive with using other tools like an octant or a sextant. So that's it for Talk Like a Pirate today. Hope you learned just a little bit, and let's get back to the show. That's what we call here on Bourbon Bill's Pirate Bar edutainment. We try to entertain and educate a little bit as we go. So let's get right to the mixing of this fantastic drink. Now, some drinks you are using a shaker. Well, since we have soda water and it has a certain effervescence, we're going to do what's called a build drink. We're not going to actually shake it. So it's going to be more of a stirred drink. So we're going to start off with just a little bit of ice and put that in the tin. And today, like I said, we're going to use Plantation O.F.T.D. and we're going to use 1.5 ounces. Give it a little bit of kick. This is an overproof rum, so just gauge yourself accordingly. We want people to drink responsibly on the show. Okay. The second ingredient is 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice. Now, I'm blessed that I live in Florida. I can literally go outside and pick limes off the tree. And let me talk about that. Instead of getting those little plastic things that have lime juice in it, and I'm not knocking them because they're a good product, but you would cut an onion for a dinner, right? Why not cut a lime for a quality cocktail? So here we go. We got some fresh squeezed here. We got 3/4 of an ounce. Put that right in the mix. Now the next ingredient, you probably have seen this on a lot of bars and a lot of recipes, is called Grenadine. Now, if you've been watching my show for any length of time, you know that Grenadine, a lot of people assume that it's cherry juice. It's really not. It's actually pomegranate. So, get some little health benefit there. So we'll put in just about a 1/2 ounce of Grenadine into that mix. It gives it a little sweetness. Now, some recipes will call for simple syrup, or in the Trader Vic's, Trader Vic's original menu, they ask for something called herb saint. Some people will put in absinthe. Not a fan. Okay, and most people aren't, but if you want to try something exotic, feel free to add that in. Just don't add too much of the absinthe, or you'll be dancing with the fairies, if you know what I mean. All right, the next ingredient we're going to add in is Velvet Falernum. Now, it's kind of an almondy, citrusy kind of liqueur, and it gives it some interesting spice notes into that drink. And last but not least, we're going to add in a splash of soda. Now, some recipes will call for a splash, some call for a dash, and that might be a little confusing to some people. A dash is usually like when you have bitters and you have a very tiny little hole and you just kind of put in a few drops. That's a few dashes. But a splash is literally just that, just a little splash in there. You don't need a whole lot unless you prefer it. Okay, so we'll give that a good stir. And while that's chilling down, I think it's time for Pirate Joke of the Day. We'll be right back. Ahoy, mateys. Welcome to Pirate Joke of the Day. I'm Bourbon Bill and this is Bootleg Mini. Hey, Bootleg, why does a pirate carry a sword?
For protection, maybe?
Because a sword can't walk on its own. Duh.
No more grog for you.
Back to the show. Hey, I just crack myself up sometimes. All right, we've got our mixture in the tin. Now we need an appropriate vessel to put this great concoction in. We have our Bourbon Bill's Tiki Escape Tiki mug here. So what we're going to do here is just go ahead and just use a strainer because we have it already filled full of ice. We don't need more ice, so we'll just strain that ice out and give that a good pour. Look at that beautiful color going down into that drink. Now you can do it in a tiki mug, you can do it in a double rocks glass, whatever works for you. And since you know this came out of the South Pacific, I thought it was only fitting that we put it in an appropriate tiki mug. All right, so what tiki drink would be complete without some garnish, right? So of course we need our appropriate straw to get that down in there. And with this one it's pretty simple. We're just going to garnish it with a lime wheel and give it a little color here with a lovely little umbrella. And there you have it. That's the Dr. Funk. Now, I've shared this with you. Do me a little favor. Put down in the comments what city you hail from when you see this. We have viewers from all over the world. We just passed the 1,000 subscriber mark, which we are so grateful and so humbled by that everybody's liking our content. But put down in there and also let me know when you try this out how it works out for you. Well, that's it for Bourbon Bill's Pirate Bar today. Check out some of our other videos on this channel, and if you don't see something that you're interested in, shoot me a note down in the comments or on my email that's on the channel as to what recipes you would like to see. That's actually how our Moonshine Apple Pie video came to be. All right, well, that's it for today. I'm going to go enjoy this with some friends. I hope you have had a great time. If you liked the video, give us a nice thumbs up, share it out to some friends. We'd really appreciate it. Well, have a great day and cheers.